Hello, good afternoon and a warm welcome to CVFM studios here in Middlesbrough. My name is Idris, keeping you company on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you're well, and just a few notifications that are coming up. Welcome to Mayor's Question Time here one more time. Andy, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. You are so loud in my ears, Idris. It's like
okay,
screaming at me.
Let me turn this down for you.
That's a bit better. That's nice.
Is that okay?
That's nice, Idris. Not aggressive, Idris.
So we are behind this glass wall thing, but Andy, thank you for making time for us today, and thank you for coming into the studio. It's been a while since we spoke to you. Lots has been happening in terms of the pandemic and all the work that's been going on in Middlesbrough. But as a way of introduction, just give us a little bit of overview of what you've been busy with in the last 2-3 months since you were here last.
Wow, it's a long time, isn't it? Well, I'll tell you what I was doing today. I've been down at Thorntree at the Beresford Shops. There's a big GP practice. They've got patients all over town, but they've got a centre over there in Thorntree at the Beresford buildings, and they have today vaccinated their 7,000th person. And I met Janet from Beechwood, and she was the 7,000th-ish, and it was just fantastic to see the work that's going on there, the commitment, the progress that's being made, Idris, and the spirit of optimism about the future is really lovely to see. Really, I mean, I want to persuade everybody, unless you can't for some medical reason or other reason, please do get a vaccine. It will help you and it will help everyone. And I really want to get back to normal. I want to see all jobs saved. I want us to create new jobs and build new homes and build futures. And I want us to live a life, you know. I want to have a kebab, right? I want to walk in the park with some friends. I want to play tennis or football. I want to see people again. And what's exciting now is that's starting to feel like it's within our reach. So that's really fantastic. And related to that, I have to share with you, there's a huge amount of optimism about investment in Middlesbrough, about creating jobs. And we need those. We need to sustain every job, and we need to create new jobs, because the next 12 months are undoubtedly going to be tough, especially in some sectors. So we need to really do everything we can. And I am optimistic, I am passionate, and I am confident that we can make massive headway. There's some exciting stuff coming with new offices that will lead to new jobs of all kinds for everyone, new homes of all kinds, from people who are retired and want low-rise, from people who are young and want high-rise, to people who want townhouses. And the great news is we're going to build so many of those in the centre of town, so many, which means we're going to boost our shops, our restaurants, crime will fall, there'll be more vibrancy and energy. And the other thing that I'm really, really motivated about is that we have ready to launch a remarkably exciting thing where we're going to get leisure, really exciting leisure concepts in the centre of Middlesbrough that we've lacked for so long. It's all going to happen. We're going to have some of them in place by Christmas and operating. So come December, possibly November, you're going to be out there with family, with friends, people of all ages, enjoying great stuff in the very centre of town. And that's all about jobs, all kinds of jobs, and it's all about sustaining and supporting existing retail. Because when you go somewhere, you want to play bowling with your friends, if you walk past a shop, you call in. If you walk past a restaurant, you call in. And we need all of this stuff in the centre of town, up and down Linthorpe Road, up and down Boho Road. We need more people in the centre of town. And I'm really about protecting jobs, growing jobs. The future is tough for the next 12 months, but I'm immensely optimistic about our ability to win new jobs, create new homes and win investment.
Andy, you gave us a little bit of an overview and some of the things that you touched upon. We do have questions on that, and I want to go into a little bit of depth in some of the issues, and you can see some of the comments that are coming in. Viewers, listeners, if you would like to take part in the programme, do drop us a message. As you can see, there's comments coming through from some of the groups, and also on the pages as well. We'll as we go through the programme, we'll introduce some of these comments in the chat feature as well. One of the things that is quite topical, you talk about investment in the area and housing. Great things are happening finally in Gresham with 13, and that was one of your major pledges when you run for mayor, and that has come to fruition. as with the previous mayors, there's been big pipe dreams, things that they've announced. Unfortunately, you know, 5, 6 years down the line, those things haven't come about. So you were promising lots of things when you were coming in as the candidate. Some things you've achieved very, very quickly. Others will take time. The snow centre that you mentioned the other day, that is now dead and buried.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put a slight
Caveat.
chink of light in that, you know what I mean? I think the snow centre's been knocking about, you know, since I was at primary school almost, hasn't it? I mean, not quite literally, but I think since about 2014, you know, there were big pictures in the Gazette and it's going to happen and it's this and it's that. And the truth is, the ambition and optimism of the people behind that is only to be applauded. The challenge we've had as a council is that public expectation was whipped up and it was sky high. And beneath it all, you know, maybe there wasn't quite enough substance, certainly at the early stages. As time went on, you know, the council built the bridge over the water and did some land deals, and I think TVCA put some money in a loan to help make it happen. But sadly, as we got to the crunch, the people behind it didn't raise any money, and that's a shame because it would have been amazing. The council was asked to consider, with a partner, TVCA, raising the 40 million quid, basically putting 40 million pounds of the public's money into the scheme to make it happen. And that would have made it happen. There's no doubt it would have happened. The problem is it could have failed. And if that project failed after 3 years or 1 year or 5 years, the council would be left with these empty buildings. And we couldn't have got other tenants for them. We'd have... What I'm saying is, I would love to have seen the snow centre happen. What I cannot do, right, is only go with ambition and optimism and roll the dice with 40 million quid of the public's money. I have to be much more careful in that. I share the ambition, I share the optimism, and I have to make sure we are financially solvent. So sadly, unless someone comes forward with a load of money quickly, that's not happening, I'm afraid.
And staying within that vicinity, last time you were here, we were talking about Boho X, and since then, you know, the plans have changed. The factors due to COVID, you know, in terms of how the town and the world is looking at retail and business space. Things have changed. So just a little recap on that in terms of what's happening. Obviously, the tower is no longer there, but the ambition and the vision for the area is still there. Yeah,
I am.
Are you disappointed that?
No, you know what? I'm not disappointed. What happened was, so we had this ambition, and we had the money in place, the finances in place, and we had the response from the business community. It was just amazing to build this 20-storey tower, the tallest office building, probably between Leeds and Glasgow. Some people loved it, some people didn't love it. The business community wanted to be in it. We had people actually paying deposits to be in there before we'd even built the thing, so it was popular. The challenge was for us is just as we got in that planning process, COVID struck, and all of the commercial property news, all of the insiders in that sector, all the surveyors were saying, actually, what's going to happen in 3 years? Are people going to have offices? Are people going to work from home now all the time? Do we need fewer offices? Should they be different? And nobody knew. So to me, again, and I have to be optimistic and ambitious, but I have to balance the books. I decided that, and it was a tough decision, bearing in mind the world had changed in just a few months and we had no idea when we're getting out of it, that we should absolutely plough ahead and deliver a brilliant scheme, but we shouldn't plough ahead as though nothing had changed. So we adapted the plan. We've got a beautiful, beautiful building. It's a bit smaller, but it's less tall, so it involves less money. So we've freed up some other money for other things. And over there, over the border, we called it as lads, St Hilda's, we are going to have, within 2 years, there will be the best office building for certainly 50 miles. We will have an urban farm. We will have new housing that will absolutely delight people of all kinds. Some social housing, beautiful townhouses for sale, some apartments. We're going to have a new school. We're going to have a public orchard. It's going to be an amazing place to live and work. We'll have direct trains to London, 3 minutes walk to the House of Fraser crossroads there for shopping and leisure. It will be the best place in Teesside to live. And I know what people will say when they hear me say this. They say, oh, why would I live there? Why wouldn't live there? But I promise you, and I've seen this all over the world, people can't see it till it's happened. And what you find early on is there's some early adopters, pioneers who've got the vision. And we've got a blank canvas there to create an incredible community with jobs, with green spaces, with an urban farm, with a new school, by transport links and by the shops, with no legacy issues like crime. So we've got a fantastic opportunity, and that will be one of the driving forces for Middlesbrough. It will create the jobs and the energy. When people come to Teesside, they're going to say, wow, what a place.
And you talk about green spaces, and obviously this end of the town you're talking about an urban farm, and you know, you're trying to get people to move into the area with the new housing. But you get some communities who do have some green space that feel that everything is getting built up. You know, you have had the discussion with the communities in Linthorpe, in what's been happening in the area with the sale of some assets. Also, the residents of Acklam, as you well know, have led a campaign prior to you being elected. We've got a question from Jackie Young. It's an audio question that's sent, so we'll have a listen to this. Hopefully our technology will work. This is a new studio, so we're still trying things out. Let's see if we can hear Jackie's question.
Andy, the thought of a relief road through Mandale Meadows has upset a lot of people. The very thought of not seeing this beautiful place in its natural state doesn't bear thinking about. Since 2018, myself and others have questioned every single aspect of this relief road, alongside the disposal of the meadow back in 2019, which stopped due to huge public outpouring. I appreciate that you have stopped the 100 houses being built, as you said in your election campaign, no houses on green spaces. It is extremely difficult now to believe anything that is being said from the council, especially as there is no supporting evidence and reports to back the council up. If I cannot see the full facts in front of me, as an example, costing of the other road options, then it's easy to think the council are keeping this information from the public. Without facts to read, the general public and myself cannot understand the council's intentions and reasons. The consultation is asking the general public to consult on the road, but it has now become clear the road is not up for discussion. Based on this mistake by the Planning Office, I would like to ask you if you would stop this consultation whilst the council prepare the consultation correctly, provide all the facts and confirm if we are consulting on a new housing estate or a road, or both. Or will we consult on the road later, which is on land which has not been agreed of the general public to dispose of? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and that is just one of many comments, questions, suggestions for the topic for today. And Jackie's been very active within the area, you know, Jackie. What's your feeling? What's your thoughts?
Tough question, actually. Well, there were a number of points, weren't there? I'm trying to remember them all, but the gist of it is, I mean, I think I'm on the spot, and I think Jackie is saying that the council, maybe not me or anybody else, but the council generally or a department has hidden information or withheld information. Obviously, that's potentially very serious. I have to reassure you, Jackie, that I have no reason to think that's the case. But do I honestly think that the council always communicates well? Definitely not. Do I think the council used to communicate very badly? I think yes, it did. I think that I'm trying to be really, really honest and not annoy everyone, and also not get myself into trouble here. And those three things are sometimes hard to balance. But I'm going to tell you the truth is that what's being consulted on is the whole thing. If the whole town, as an example, or such an enormous part of it, came forward in any consultation on anything and said we don't want it, it becomes immoral or certainly unethical for me to, or anyone, to try and force that. So the consultation is definitely real. However, there's a sense amongst people in Acklam is that based on what I learned 8 days ago, is that basically it's going to be very, very hard not to build a road. And it's going to be hard not to build a road for two reasons. One, it's in the local plan, and property deals have been done with that in mind. And if we don't build the road, we could well, or maybe even likely will, be sued for large amounts of money. And the other one is that traffic build-up around the country, not just Middlesbrough, not just South Middlesbrough, but the increase in road traffic around the country means that the A19 has got problems. And I didn't know this, but that road has been deemed to be essential for the alleviation of major problems. Truthfully, I think that the road almost certainly, and I use the word almost deliberately, almost certainly has to go ahead. I do think consultation is still worthwhile, and I do think drumming up support is worthwhile. Maybe there are compromises. I don't actually know all of the financial implications. I don't know how easy it is to build or how expensive it is to build an alternative, or how quickly it could be done. So please keep putting your info in. I mean, I was on a call with Martin Walker, who is one of the drivers behind the big campaigning group, Green Stuff. You'll see them, they're always, hassling me and pushing me and nudging me and shouting in my ear, online. And I had a good honest chat with Martin yesterday, and we shared ideas. I promise that nobody wants to build a road. Nobody wants to build houses on green spaces. What we have to do around the world is adapt with what we've got, and that means that some building on green spaces is essential and some roads are essential. That is literally the way of the world. And my job is to keep Jackie, Martin Walker, I could name check half of them, Janice, Judith, Morag, whoever else, right, in Ackland. I could name 100 of them. I've got to try and reassure you and find compromises that keep you relatively happy. I have to make sure that we stay within the law and don't get sued, and I have to make sure that we are financially solvent in the medium term. And I stress that's how important that is, because right now there are councils across the country literally going bust. And when that happens, it's catastrophic. The services you get evaporate, and your council tax goes up and up and up and up and up. And we're not at risk of that happening. We are in decent financial shape right now. But medium term, like every other council, we rely on housing growth, and we rely on other things to remain solvent. If we just stop doing things completely, that will satisfy and pacify some people, but it will put us in financial peril, which is, trust me, is not where any of us want to be. Regardless of our green credentials, none of us want to be in a council that is in financial peril. And we're not. Things are good, but we do have to build some houses, and it's the same for every council, and that's the way of the world. And my job now is to find a way of doing that keeps most people relatively happy. I've got the worst job in the world, by the way. I cannot keep I can't even keep anybody happy most of the time. But if I can keep some people a tiny bit happy, or at least comfortable, then I've done my job well. And what I'm working on now to see if there is a way, I'm trying hard, I promise you. I fought with your Newfield Crescent. We know that, and we've made that a village green officially. That can never be built on that magnificent patch of land. I definitely never promised that the meadow would never be built on, but I have now. Since then, I've said we're not going to build the houses. That's going to cost the council a few million quid, and that's fine. That's our commitment. When it comes to the road, I don't know. I suspect it is inevitable, but I promise I'm still listening. I promise it's worth putting your opinions in. But I'd urge everyone, if you're going to campaign, if you're going to give anyone hassle, whether it's me or anyone, please try and do it respectfully, because sometimes tempers get raised on both sides and it's not productive. And I get you need to be forceful when you campaign. I totally get that.
It is difficult to keep everyone happy all the time. And Tally Norfolk is commented, so she says, unfortunately, people want progression, but they don't at the same time as well. So, sometimes change can be painful.
Yeah.
And do you think you over-promised at the time of the election when you were speaking to some of these groups, or did you think that you could make the impact, and when you have been elected and looked at how everything works and seen the finer details, it's been more difficult than you might have envisaged?
I think, did I overpromise? I think what I said what people heard might be slightly different and perhaps, different perspectives. I think what I promised to do and what I'm sticking to is we're going to try and save as much green space as possible. We're going to try and get more people living in the centre of town and build on brownfield sites. We're going to be more eco-friendly. We're going to plant trees. All of those things are happening. And even with Mandale Meadow, if we look at that, and I know people are not happy with me, but what have we done so far? We have said we're not going to build the houses there. That's not happening. That's a financial hit to the council, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to build high-density, ugly housing on Stainsby Fields if we can help it. We've come up with a low-density, more expensive scheme. So I'm trying to find the compromises. I know some people aren't interested in compromises, but sometimes in life you have to compromise. I need to square off the financial necessity of some things. I need to square off the green credentials, and I need to look at the issues for the whole town. And sometimes people see what's in their backyard and not the whole town. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm just asking you to understand this is difficult. I'll reassure you again, I do not believe that anyone at the council will be trying to hide anything, but I can certainly believe there's been exceptionally bad communication, because it happens in Middlesbrough and it happens everywhere. And please get in touch on this.
Okay, and we can talk about this all day, because it is a quite emotional topic for a lot of people who live in that area. There's another question in relation to Acklam as well. I think I might have, let me see if I can get this video clip on here. This is Chloe, and she also lives in Acklam as well. This is about antisocial behaviour. We'll take a quick watch of this, and then you can respond to Chloe directly.
Hiya Andy, it's just Chloe here, presenter at CVFM and also owner of the Project Middlesbrough blog. The question I have got for you, as a proud Acklam resident, is the antisocial behaviour recently in our area. The other evening I was walking and I was verbally attacked by a group of youths around the Beck and the Trinham Avenue area of the park. And recently 3 people have been shot with an air gun, and the residents of Acklam are seeing a worsening cases of gangs of youths gathering around the shops, the Beck and the park. Even so that people are now worried to go out at night, and for my first time in 25 years I've got to say I feel unsafe leaving my house after dark. I just wanted to know what your plans were to try and tackle this problem, as it seems whenever I've reported it to the police or street wardens, nobody seems to be tackling the issue, and I think the residents of Acklam are just a little bit fed up, and this has been an ongoing issue for quite a while. So I just wanted to know what your plans were to try and tackle this, so people don't feel unsafe to leave their houses, going out for a walk, a run, or even heading to the shops, because I am very guilty of avoiding Trinham Avenue after dark, just because and I have to say I feel unsafe around certain parts of Acklam. Thanks.
It's not Acklam, it's other parts of the town. Other residents are saying similar things as well. What do you do to reassure the public? I know you've been working closely with Cleveland Police and the new Chief Constable. How do you reassure Chloe and other people in a similar situation?
It's really difficult. I know exactly where Chloe's talking about. I mean, that is where I went to school. It was my paper round territory, and I'm aware of all of the issues. And the air gun incident, the police are onto it. They're working hard. I hope we catch the characters. I hope it's dealt with. I was on the phone yesterday morning to Tim, one of the victims' dads, and his daughter sadly had a pellet embedded in a scalp. Thankfully, she was fine. She was actually fine. It looked and sounded horrendous, but she was fine. But a few inches either way, I could have hit her eye. That could have been a life-changing issue, and that's what our dad Tim was exasperated about. And what can we do about this? There are 4 main things that we can all do, and that we're trying to do, but we need help, right? So responsiveness. So we need people to report things. I know people frequently do, and they're disappointed with the response. And I'm sorry if the council isn't reporting. The council isn't responding. As well as you want. I'm really sorry. If the police aren't responding as well as you want, I am really sorry. Please, though, do not stop reporting it. I promise you, if you report stuff and you're not getting attention, please tell me. And some people do, and I follow up, and I have conversations with the police and with council departments and work out what's gone wrong. Okay, so please report it. What I do see is people putting stuff on Facebook, and I don't think that's helpful. Feel free to do it, but the first thing you should do is report it. The second thing we need to do is actually work with the police, and that means two things which might sound slightly contradictory. One is we've got to challenge them, right? To get a good deal out of anyone, you need to challenge and push, and I don't mean in an abusive way, in a constructive way. Our police are determined to help. They want to get better. Cleveland Police is now got a new lease of life, but we need to push them 100%. And that means if you're not getting the response, again, get in touch with me. But similarly, we've all got a role to play. It's not just about us reporting crime and saying it's your problem. Crime is everybody's problem, and we can all play a role in reducing it. And it means reporting it, it means avoiding it, and it means deterring it. There are lots of other things that I can talk about. Cameras make a big difference. Cameras can deter crime, but also they capture crime, which means people get caught and they get punished. And when that's publicised, it deters further crime and it makes people feel safer. So what we've done since I was elected, we've upped the number of 24/7 monitored cameras by about 30%. And we're just about to approve a potential spend of another £400,000 to get cameras not just in the centre of town where crime is highest, but all over the town. And it's wrong that Trimden Avenue around the shops, which actually has been an ASB area, we didn't call it antisocial behaviour when I was a lad, but it was there. Big groups of youngsters outside the shops when I was a lad, even probably myself sometimes. We need to stop it, and cameras will allow the police and the council to see what's going on and respond faster, catch the culprits who pollute our streets, and also deter others. So cameras is a really important one as well. We've got as a town, as a community, to show people that we don't tolerate bad behaviour, and sometimes that takes bravery. And I'm not talking about standing up to someone who's physically threatening and getting a punch in the mouth or screaming at kids, because that's not a good idea. But as a group, we need to show our own kids, our neighbours. We need to have a clear message that's not acceptable. We don't say kids will be kids, boys will be boys. We say no. You behave right, and if you don't, you're in trouble from the family's perspective, or you're in trouble with the police, or you're in trouble with the school. And something we've done very successfully, by the way, and people might not think it's effective, but it really is. When we catch loads of kids up to no good on cameras, instead of trying to get some kind of prosecution or something that damaged their record, the first thing we'll do is go with the police, maybe just go and visit the school or visit the parents. And what happens is quite remarkable, is that the kids are absolutely mortified. The parents are furious. And in many, many cases, it leads to a real improvement. Not always. And where it doesn't, then we need to get the law involved. And I'm sorry I've given you a long answer there, Chloe. I am really sorry if you are starting to feel unsafe, and that's not acceptable. And I want you to keep reporting and keep telling people to report it. You can blog about it, you can put it on Facebook as well. But the first thing is report it, and then it gets logged. And when I'm sat with other people working out where do we allocate resources to fight this disgusting behaviour that's not acceptable, I need the data. Because if I've got no reported issues in a certain street or area, all the resources go somewhere else where we know we've got issues. So please report it.
Thank you, Andy. Chloe, I hope that answered your question and reassured you a little bit. Andy, I'm going to turn our attention to coronavirus. Obviously, lots of work going on with the council, with the Public Health England, voluntary sector organisations. Everyone has contributed over the last 12 months. You tweeted about vaccination. Well, what's your opinion on people that refuse vaccination?
So, first of all, I really think that I don't know anything about vaccines, and I don't know anything about medicine, right? So what do? I don't listen to some fella from the pub or Bert who lives around the corner, right? I work out what are the experts saying, and everything I've read, right? Everything I've read is that every single expert in the world, right, or even locally, speak to your GP, speak to James Cook. If you know a nurse who is very experienced at James Cook or anywhere else, speak to all of those people, ask them what they think, and I will tell you what they're going to say. I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, get a vaccine, it's safe, right? And some people, for some reason, are choosing to listen to dodgy info from people who are reputed to be experts, but they really aren't. They're rogue doctors, rogue scientists who are 1 in a million, but get a following on Facebook. There are always people, I've got to be careful what words I use, there's something in our nature which sometimes wants to believe that there's a plot and a sinister conspiracy, and some of us are more inclined to believe that than others. And would I send my kids for a vaccination now? Did I ask my dad, who is 84, coming up 85, to go for one? Yes, absolutely. Every single person I know who is a scientist or a medical practitioner of any kind tells me categorically that it's safe. Don't listen to people who say it isn't. And I think, Idris, sorry to interrupt you, is that I've been cross, and I said something the other day that I probably shouldn't have done, but what I'm frustrated about is that the vast majority of people are going for a vaccine. Some people cannot, right? Some people are just terrified. There might be other reasons. And I don't think they have to go. I think they should, but I don't think they have to go. And what's crossed my mind is I think we're heading to normality quite soon. And the normality we're going to get to has been achieved by people who've followed the rules, by people who've got the vaccine, who've worn a mask and kept a distance and not had parties in the house. And I'm frustrated that some of the people who've had parties in the house, they're going to enjoy this return to normal, and they don't deserve it in the same way.
It must be really, really frustrating for people that are on the front line within our NHS, working and putting their lives at risk. And when people are spreading misinformation and conspiracies. And someone that's been really working hard within our community is Dr. Hassan Taya, who is very patiently waiting for us here in his practice. Hello, Doc, how are you?
Salam Idris, I'm fine, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. Say hello to Andy as well.
Hello.
Hi Andy.
Hiya.
Nice to meet you.
And you.
So, Dr. Hassan, just tell me a little bit about some of the work that you've been doing in terms of combating misinformation, and especially with the work that you're doing within BAME communities as well, because there is this fear of the vaccine. So I think it's important that we highlight the work that yourself and Dr. Singh have been doing over the last few months.
Yeah, I mean, we identified that there's a lot of misinformation, especially in the BAME community. So we've been trying to get some good information out there for people to speak to us, to dispel some of the myths that are going around about the vaccine. Idris has very kindly helped on his show for us to do a contribution, very well received feedback. But we're trying to just get as much accurate information out there as we can, to dispel some of the myths, to give people an opportunity to ask us questions, just like what you were saying, Andy, to speak to people that are in the know, that are dealing with this day in, day out. And we would advocate everybody to have the vaccine if they can. I've had the vaccine. I'll push my parents to make sure they get the vaccine. You know, and I can't say more than that really. You need to give it to yourself, the ones that you love the most. You advocate applications as well.
So, the doctors are themselves, their families are taking it. You would encourage your family members to take it. So, I think you have a right to be angry when people aren't and supporting the bigger cause. I know there are some individuals that might not be able to take it, but others that are discouraging people that are at risk from taking it. What's your thoughts about them?
I've had a lot of hate mail because of what I've said about this, and it is hard. Some people are genuinely believing that the vaccine is dangerous, and they're disseminating what they're being told. So they're being given information which, in my opinion, and I'm sure Dr. Tahir's opinion, is completely wrong and very dangerous to our society, not just to them. And they're disseminating it. And their view is that I'm mad, I'm insane, because I can't see the truth that they can. And this is really frustrating for me. From day one, I tell you what, I said straight away, everyone should be wearing a mask. Before it was the rule, and I got so much abuse, and then I'm saying everyone in the restaurant, all the staff should be wearing masks, all the shops should be wearing. And I got so much abuse, and it's hard because I can't win, and people are angry with me, and I get abuse, and I get horrible letters and emails. But I have to tell you what I believe is in everyone's interest, is that the vaccine is not harmful. Is there a risk that somebody has a reaction to any vaccine? There absolutely is. But we all vaccinate our kids against measles, right? And we all, listen, there are a million things that we take. And every time you take an aspirin or an ibuprofen, there's a big long list. This is safe. in medical terms, this is safe, and never before will so many people have been immunised, and the data that's out there is all confirming all of the facts. If you're in doubt, don't believe me, but listen to Dr. Tahir or a million other doctors like him. Please don't listen to a Facebook page you find, or some fella around the corner, or the woman who runs the shop. Please listen to the experts.
I mean,
So,
you're right there, Andy. You know, the word you use is dangerous. Some of the disinformation is dangerous. It's going to put people's lives at risk. You know, I mean, at the minute we've vaccinated close to 15 million people in the UK, which is an amazing achievement. And as I said on our previous call-ins, we're constantly reviewing data. The MHRA are constantly looking at people who are having reactions, might be having reactions to the vaccine. Is it because of the vaccine? Is it for any other reason? So this whole issue around safety, we've got one of the best safety systems, you know, in the world in the MHRA, in that we're constantly reviewing, you know, data to see whether these vaccines are safe, whether things need to be updated. So we're very, very confident that, you know, the vaccine is giving people a lot of hope to get back to normal, like what you were saying. And just on that note, there's some positive news from Tees, some data that I've seen this week, that in Tees Valley over the last sort of week, there has been a reduction in the amount of sort of new cases. It's down sort of around just over 20%. So, you know, and this is down to people's, you know, hard work in terms of social distancing, keeping working from home when they can. You know, it just shows that it really is making a difference. So we're not out of the woods yet, but we're definitely trying to vaccinate as many people as we can so we can get back to some form of normality.
Thank you for that, Dr. Hassan. I do appreciate you taking your time. I know you're on call as well, so I won't hold you too longer. But and myself or Andy saying is one thing, coming from a sort of someone who's in a medical field at the front end of fighting this pandemic. Thank you so much. Inshallah, we'll speak again.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you again, Andy. All the best. All the best.
Bye-bye.
So our local GP is doing some fantastic work, and I just want to give a shout out to all the public health staff, the local authority teams that have been doing some amazing work when the pandemic happened and throughout. So I think a lot of people don't realise the amount of hard work and effort that's took to keep things working and moving. So big shout out to all the teams that work in there. Andy, we're going to go and move on to another couple of controversial questions.
Sure.
And before we do that, I think I'm going to feature this question as well that we had on video. It's in relation to COVID, coronavirus and mental health. So I think we'll take this in and then we'll come back to our cycle scheme, if that's okay with you.
Hi, my name's Lauren Ramsey. I'm a senior youth worker at Links Youth Project, and my question is, COVID-19 has impacted the lives of Middlesbrough's young people in many ways. It's great that you've been able to support them on their homeschooling journey by securing laptops for the most deprived, but how are you also going to support young people's mental health?
Yes, mentioned laptops, great initiatives. Big thank you to all our local businesses that supported that particular campaign. Obviously, lots of work done by yourself to raise the profile and approach the businesses directly. Just tell us a little bit about that, how much was raised and what sort of how many laptops you've managed, or tablets that were purchased for the schools.
So there's been over £100,000 raised and scores of devices, you know, reconditioned laptops and tablets, and that's gone out to schools, and that's fantastic. But in addition to that, Middlesbrough Council, I'm really proud to say Middlesbrough Council is the first council in the country to have declared that every single kid, right, not just kids on free school meals, every single kid deserves to have their own device to learn on. And that's not just because of COVID, actually. If they're off sick, if their school closes in a month, if it's closed for whatever reason, if they want to catch up on a weekend, our kids all deserve the chance to grow in confidence, to learn, to do well at school and build really exciting futures. And everyone deserves that. But the ones I'm most fearful of are the poorest. The ones perhaps where the parents aren't able to give them all the things, or there might be issues at home that mean they don't get the attention they deserve. And those kids have suffered so much during this pandemic. It is heartbreaking and it's terrifying. And what I promise is, as well as making sure every single kid can have access to a device to learn, to grow and to catch up with, this summer, and possibly at Easter, but certainly this summer, we will be running a range of schemes, not just about academic catch-up, but about growing social skills, growing mental health, which is really about Lauren's question, of course, here. So to get back to your question, Lauren, is we will be doing so much. Some of that will be government-driven, but we will go absolutely above and beyond that. We will do everything we can to get not just the kids, but the families involved, because it's no good having a kid for a few hours and them feeling great and then going home to an environment where there's no engagement or support. We need to engage everybody, and everybody's mental health is low. And I cannot promise that I can fix that, but I can promise we will go above and beyond anywhere else. We will do more than people think possible, and we will go above and beyond other local authorities to make sure every kid, especially those from the poorest backgrounds, have a fighting chance of doing well at school and building a great future.
Okay, thank you for that, Andy. We've got about 15 minutes left, and we do have quite a lot to get through. Quite a few questions on Linthorpe Road cycling scheme, Andy. I've got a question, and I'll listen to Rashad, and we've had various other people contact the station over the last week or so in relation to this. You might have seen some posters and billboards and the like on Linthorpe Road in relation to this. So we're given the opportunity to Rashad and the rest of the team just to put a question through, and so we'll take a listen to this and I'll let you respond after that.
Hi Andy, my name's Rashad, and I have a very successful business on Linthorpe Road. However, like many businesses, COVID-19 has hurt us badly. We had invested £800,000 3 years ago in our business. Had we known of this cycle lane, we would not have come to Middlesbrough. We came to Middlesbrough because we believed in Linthorpe Road. We are shocked by the cycle lane proposal. It will hit our customer car parking and be another nail in the coffin. We will not get a chance to recover from COVID-19 before you subject us to the cycle lane. No parking means no business. I'm sure you understand that. I speak for over 100 businesses on Linthorpe Road, and we are all of the same view. We object to the cycle lane. Our local councillors, Odine, Story and Lewis, who represent Central Ward, disagree with the Linthorpe Road cycle scheme. We have a Middlesbrough Council e-petition that had over 500 signatures in one day. My question, Andy, is will you reconsider this scheme, or are our objections and protests falling on deaf ears?
So there was a consultation taking place in relation to the cycle scheme. Do you want to share for the listeners that aren't, or the viewers that aren't aware, what this proposal is about and where the resources are coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Rashad. Thank you for that. I think we may have been on a call. We may have spoken actually in January, where I had a call with a lot of the shopkeepers there. And I mean, I think that part of Linthorpe Road, first of all, is fantastic. I think it's got a great future. I actually, the number of so we are putting in a cycle lane, and this is something that's happening across the country. There is a national movement to make use of bikes more common for health reasons and for environmental reasons. What I genuinely believe, and I know you may not share this, Rashad, and your colleagues may not, I genuinely believe that we can make Linthorpe Road and your business even busier, okay? I know that we will, to put the cycle lanes in, we will have to take out, I think it's about 50 parking spaces. That's 50 parking spaces between about 100 businesses. Could that be an inconvenience to some of your customers and your staff? Quite possibly, I get that. I do get that. But what I also think we will do is we will drive new people up and down Linthorpe Road on foot and on bike. And of course, there is still parking available, but it might be 15 or 25 or 35 metres away. I am completely committed, Rashad, to you and every single business owner. I want you to do well. I want you to grow. I want you to make money for you and your family, and I want you to hire people. And I believe that I can help you do that. And if I can help you in other ways, by the way, please get in touch, because I will do anything I possibly can to promote all the businesses, all the jobs, and make sure you and your family and your employees are financially secure. I do believe that as a town, we have to do more for cycling. There was a huge study undertaken by experts, and the experts said that the place to make a difference to Middlesbrough for cycling would be that section of Linthorpe Road. And it does involve taking out 50 car parking spaces, 50 parking spaces that are shared between 50 businesses. We consulted. It was actually organised by Tees Valley Combined Authority. The consultation was publicised in the Gazette and on social media at the end of December, and every single business was written to. And I know what's going to come back. People are going to say we didn't get a letter. What I do know is every single letter was posted, and that consultation was open for a month. The consultation finished at the end of January. I understand that people feel they haven't been listened to. I understand that people are frustrated. I understand I'm probably the whipping boy for this, and that's fine. But I promise you that I think this is in all of our interests. And I promise you that I think your business, as we come out of COVID, can do better and better and better. And we can get more people in the centre of Middlesbrough, in cars, on foot, on bikes, on public transport. And I want to see that footfall coming to you. Please get in touch with me, and I'd love to come and talk to you. And I want you to understand how I feel about this and how I want to support you. But unfortunately, Rashad, I cannot promise you or anyone that this isn't going ahead, because it's being consulted on, and it's been through that process.
As you said, this is part of a national drive to get more people onto bikes, but has there been any sort of a local study or research to identify that Linthorpe Road is that particular route is the main?
There is research. I believe that's been shared, but if not, I can make sure the council puts it on social media with a link, so anybody who wants to see it can access it and have a look. It's certainly been on a website already for anybody who was interested, but I can make sure that's really, really well publicised.
We've had consultation on other things before, and we've gone through them, and then we've done U-turns.
Yeah, we have. You know what? I mean, listen, as I said, I can't remember who it was to earlier. Was it to Jackie?
Fortnightly bin collections?
Yeah, I mean, listen, so we were in a financial predicament, and for green reasons, it makes sense to go to fortnightly collections. I mean, most of the world does that, right? There's only Middlesbrough and a handful of the councils don't. And also financially, it would save money. We were in a financial predicament. So one of two drivers with the bins was money. What happened with money was we actually got a slightly more generous financial settlement from the government than we feared. So we suddenly had the money. And coming out of COVID, or actually still in COVID at that point, we feared that if we went to fortnightly then, it would be slightly chaotic, because people are more time at home, they're eating in more, and there'd be more rubbish, and the streets couldn't cope. So what we decided to do was delay it for a year initially. We'll relook at it. And I'm really pleased. And we can absolutely reverse decisions. However, I have to tell you that's very, very rare. It's very, very rare. Decisions are made based on lots of info, opportunity to speak up. And I know this makes me unpopular, and I know people get angry, and I know I'm the whipping boy, and I can show you my inbox with all the abusive messages.
You are face of the council, Andy.
But I have to do what I think is right for the whole town. But I do promise, Idris, I do promise Rashad and everyone that I don't think they will suffer because of this. I know they can't see it and don't agree with me, but I will do everything I can to help promote you. And I would like to come and meet Rashad and perhaps some of his colleagues or his neighbouring businesses.
There's 100 of them.
Yeah.
So I hope Rashad Andy's answered part of your questions, but as I said, it's a part of a national drive, and the consultation has taken place. And what is the time frame in terms of developing this initiative?
I actually do not know.
Okay.
Don't know.
So watch this space, and Andy thinks that in the long run it should not impact the business.
In the medium term, I think it will be great for footfall, for shoppers, for spending, and for businesses. And I know people can't see that right now, but I'm happy to meet and chat and talk about other ways I might be able to help you.
Okay. One or two other questions that came down, I might just merge some of them together as well. In relation to the government jobs, Andy, you have been drumming the well, you have been shouting from the rooftops in terms of trying to get Rishi and the rest of the team to listen and bring the jobs to the Tees Valley area, and specifically Middlesbrough. How hopeful are you that that might happen?
I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is the government's talked a brilliant game, right? The government has said, "Oh, forget the past. We're going to level up, right?
yeah.
Right? Forget. I know you all think we're nasty and horrible, but that was the past. We are going to level up. We're going to deal with the North properly, and we're going to show you how committed we are." And that's great. Are they going to bring the civil service jobs here? I do not know. I have no idea if it's likely or unlikely. I do know that I had a meeting with someone from government 6-7 months ago and talked about this, and he was very candid, and he said, every single government over time has always tried to get the civil servants out of London. They've always wanted to do it. Getting the civil servants out is much harder than it sounds. But I do believe that 800 jobs are going to leave central London and come north. My first priority is that they come to Teesside. But if they come to Teesside, they should come to central Middlesbrough, because if they go out to a business park like Teesside Airport, does it really help our economy? It doesn't really help much. What you'll get is the big executives, the bigwigs will live in Durham City and Barnard Castle and Harrogate, and they'll drive on this business park 3 days a week, take a sandwich with them, then they'll drive home. We need these people in the centre of town where they will boost our shops, boost our restaurants, increase the vibrancy. And I know if the government works with us to build an office building for 800 people, that will be the catalyst for £100 million of investment, thousands of jobs. And so that's where it'll make a real difference. That's where they've got to do it. And if they don't do it, I think we've learnt a lesson, haven't we? I nearly swore, but we'll learn it's all a load of nonsense. So let's see what they do. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, we can't get a free port and the government jobs. I'll tell you something about free ports is they can be fantastic. They can also be a problem. They aren't as simple and straightforward a gift as they sound. They can present all kinds of issues and all kinds of problems. It depends how they are handled. So I've backed the idea of us applying for a free port, and the devil is going to be in the detail of the documentation and the negotiations. So to me, the free port is exciting, but it isn't a done deal. And even if they say we're getting it, it doesn't mean it's actually going to be good. It depends on lots of things. The government jobs is different. That's much better because it's actually like cash in the bank. It's not the promise of a commission if you sell this or do this in 20 years. It's saying the government jobs coming is like someone putting cash in your bank now. So that's the priority for me. It's getting the government jobs and getting them to central Middlesbrough if possible.
And it's still not too late to get in touch with your local MP, email the government office. Do whatever you can to raise your voice and express an opinion. And you never know, that might make a small difference.
Every email might make a small difference, and please invest 5 minutes of your time. Email your MP, your councillor, email Rishi Sunak, Google it, go on my Facebook, you'll see his address. Send him an email. He won't read it, you know, but I'm sure one of his army of helpers will. And if he gets enough of them, they're going to say to him, listen, mate, there's a lot of pressure coming here from Middlesbrough. Are you sure you want to take it to wherever else instead? And that miite help.
Okay, literally only a few minutes left. Shall we go through some of the comments that we haven't touched upon? People have been messaging on there. This is Lee Pennington, and he says, is there any way we can get a 24/7 vaccination station that could be introduced to make a really big impact in Middlesbrough?
Hi, Lee. I know Lee's family. I remember when Lee was a baby, in fact. Okay, yes, we can, how quickly it can happen. And truthfully, I tell you something is that, yes, it is great. However, I was at Thorntree this morning and they are whipping through them, right? They've done 7,000 just in that single chain of GP surgeries. Then we've got what they're doing at other locations. So I think it would be good. I think we're pushing for it. And I think there may be an announcement soonish. But what I would say is we are doing really well anyway. And although it would be useful, it's not the end of the world if we don't. We're whipping through this, and I'm really optimistically. I don't know if I've answered the question. Sorry.
Yeah, we're just going to go through these quite quickly. Cheryl Dixon saying, what about children with disabilities? All over the town are not getting secondary school places in school this year again. We had a bit of an issue a couple of years ago for secondary school. Is it an issue again? What's the bottleneck, Andy? Are you aware of anything? I know I'm just
Well, Cheryl, hello, Cheryl. I'm actually not aware of that issue about kids with disabilities. So if you want to contact me, I will definitely get you an answer, and we'll look into that. I do know there are secondary school places for everyone. That fiasco of 2014 was it? I think. Sorry, 2018.
Yes.
That is not happening right now, and there's no risk of that. And we've got a new school online, of course, the Riverside Academy, which is going to take pressure off central Middlesbrough and the middle parts of Middlesbrough, which takes pressure off the southern parts of Middlesbrough. So there's no issue with capacity, but if there's a specific issue with kids with disabilities, please highlight that to me, Cheryl. Get in touch and we will find out.
Yes, seeing that commenting about Linthorpe Road, thank you for your message and your contribution. What else has come through? That's in relation to the snow centre. I think when we're talking about antisocial behaviour, Matthew was saying is anything except dispersal orders. You mentioned that other things that are taking place. But I think with the commission of the youth service and the whole new youth offer for Middlesbrough, I think that will have and will make an impact in terms of engaging young people and street-based youth work as well. I think that will have an impact.
I think it will, but I do get that if you're there and you've got antisocial problems there outside your house, that doesn't reassure you tonight. And as Chloe was saying, so listen, we need the cameras, we need to work with the police and push them. And if you please report everything. And if you don't get responses, get in touch with me and I promise I'll try and chase it up. And people criticise me. I do occasionally miss an email. It's not that often, but I do occasionally miss them. But I promise I try to get back to every single person. If you want to reach me, do not comment on Facebook and sit there waiting for a reply. I don't have a big team of people, and I get tens of thousands of Facebook tags or comments a week, and it is impossible to even read them, never mind reply. If you email, somebody should get back to you. And if they don't, find another way to contact me, because that's bad.
So Lee Fisher saying, hi Andy, will the testing of South African variant go on to be rolled out in other areas of Middlesbrough, depending on outcomes of the current location? Colby Newman?
Yeah, I don't think so. So far, we still have only found one case. So it appears to be something, goodness knows how it got there, but it's there and it doesn't appear to have spread. And the South African variant, by the way, isn't any more virulent or dangerous than the main variant, which is dominant now, which is called the Kent variant. So overseas, they call it the English variant. So there isn't anything unusual to worry about, but we do need the info of how it's spread.
This is Martin's comment. He said, I've had number 1 Pfizer, Soram 2. And he's asking and encouraging everyone to get vaccinated. Thank you for your comment as well. Other comments coming through.
Someone said rubbish there.
We must be talking about recycling then. or maybe it was one of my questions, your comments, who knows? Thank you so much, Andy. It's an hour's flown by so quickly. And it's always great to have you in the studio. I know sometimes we throw you some curveballs, but it's for our listeners, our viewers, and we've not had many mayors that have had the courage to come and face the flak.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be applauded. Whether people like you or don't, you've got the courage and the guts to stand up and take it from our listeners and the wider community, and put yourself in the position where a lot of politicians generally shy away from.
Yeah, Idris, I mean, gosh, I think that people think that I get an easy ride and I select questions, and I promise look, have I had any access to any of these? Did I have any clue what people are going to ask?
No, we've not.
I could have predicted some, of course, but...
Yeah. No, we don't share any questions with Andy prior to him coming into the studio. He doesn't vet anything. He doesn't refuse to answer any questions. Everything happens in a live environment, and that's why we appreciate you coming in, because even though you're not going to please everyone with the answers that you're going to give, and you're not going to do that, given the environment we're in, because you can't please everyone. I'm sure Jackie and Rashad and other ones might have been expecting different answers, but there's a balance to be.
Idris, and this is everyone. Whatever you think of me, some people like me, some people don't, and I will always try to be constructive and honest, and that means I can't always I can't always tell you what you want to hear, and I'm sorry, but I really can't. And I'm just trying to communicate. I'm just trying to share that I am passionate about Middlesbrough. I'm fighting for a fairer deal for everyone and better life opportunities for everyone. And we're making some real progress, and I will keep fighting. And I have no agenda other than to be open.
One final question. Obviously, being the mayor of Middlesbrough, and the honeymoon period is definitely over. How do you envisage? Obviously, no one predicted the pandemic last year, and how do you envisage us coming out of this, and what are your hopes for the future?
I think that I believe that we will be back to normal faster than many people think. I think at the moment a lot of people are feeling very low, but actually now is the time I am most optimistic. So I think within 3 months we'll have some large amounts of normality, some restrictions, and I think 3 months after that we'll be pretty much back to normal. And I believe that in Middlesbrough, like everywhere, we're going to see job losses and job insecurity, which is horrible. What we've got to do about that, we've got to support each other. We've got to make sure that we support each other financially, mentally. We stick together and we fight hard to save every single job, and we spend our money locally where we can, and we try and save every single job, and we create the new jobs. And I really believe that none of the investment that I was excited about before COVID struck has gone away. I'm confident we do great things, but it's not going to be easy. But we are on the right track, and Middlesbrough is a smaller version of everywhere else, and Middlesbrough can compete with Leeds and Newcastle for a fair share of investment and opportunity and good news. And if we all stick together, by God, we will get there. I promise we will get there sooner than people think.
On that note, thank you so much for watching, for listening, for sharing, and for taking part in the programme. We'll be back again maybe a couple months' time and see how things progress. Andy, we'll do it all over again. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for driving in as well. We try to make it as COVID safe. I don't know if you can see us, but there is a division in between Andy and myself. We've been working on this new social media studio with our volunteers, and it's about trying to connect with our diverse communities here in Middlesbrough, and our other volunteers will be using this to do different programs. So we're always looking for volunteers to support the radio station. So if you have anything in terms of time, skills, or opportunity to take part, please drop us a message, volunteer@cvfm. We've got a nice message to end the show with. It's Lee Fisher saying thank you, Andy and Idris. Thank you to you as well, Lee, for your comment and your message. So goodbye from me, and goodbye from